So today's speaker is Mr. Abdul Fatah Jamro, who is a PhD student at ATU, that is Atlantic Technological University in Galway. He's doing his PhD in quantum computational sciences. That's what I'm given. That is a remarkable field in itself, but that's not the topic for today. The topic for today would be how to create a good CV. And since I remember last that we have talked about how to create how to tell your story and then how to create your LinkedIn profile, the next good step would obviously be how do you make your presence to the employers or anyone that may be for a job, for maybe academic purposes. So a CV can go a long way, but that's Mr. Fatah's topic today. I'll hand over my laptop to him. He'll be using my laptop to share the screen. And next, you'll hear from Mr. Fatah. So Fatah, you have the presentation, please. Carry on.
Thank you so much, Mohsen. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So is the video on?
No,
Can you adjust?
Yes, sir.
the video would be from
Okay, no, it's okay. Just we can.
Can you open Zoom app?
Zoom app and it's okay. Yeah. Okay. Hope you can see my screen, and my name is Abdul Fatah Jamro, and I am a PhD researcher in Ireland. My research topic is quantum computing, but CV is work for everyone. Everyone needs a CV, regardless of its occupation or its field of interest. So everyone should have a good CV. My topic is to elaborate more on CV. Okay, so we are going further. What you expect today from my presentation is that what is an ATS CV or Eruopass CV format, and what is the difference between resume and CV, types of CV, and how to create a CV, what tools we should use to create a CV. LinkedIn CV, you can use Microsoft to create your CV, and some CV statistics, and you can earn some cash, or you can sell your skill to make other CV or improve CV for others. Okay, so let's discuss what is ATS CV. So if there's any problem, or if I'm not audible to you, or if you have any question, you can stop me and ask your question, or maybe you can type your question and Mohsen will ask me, he will read for me if you have any questions. So ATS stands for Application Tracking System. Okay, so nowadays a lot of companies, means a lot of giant companies like Google, IBM, and other companies like Unilever, P&G, these companies use ATS, means application tracking systems, because they get a lot of CVs, a lot of applications, and they cannot read or scan out one by one with the human eye. So there are softwares, there are programs who do this job for the recruiters or for the employers. Actually, ATS is a software program that automates the recruitment process. It shortlists CVs with the help of keywords that you use, like ATS can pick out your information. It can pick out your name, email address, contact. It can pick out your education, experience, and your certifications or other skills. So, but it cannot pick from every format of CV, because it is a artificial program, artificial intelligence based program. It can only take several kind of patterns, and it can take several words. If your CV is not on that format, it will pick your wrong information, and you will not be shortlisted for the job. So here are some tips how you can make an ATS CV. So these tips are picked from a well-known website of recruitment or job posting, that is Indeed. So first of all, it says that you should have a template that should be friendly to ATS systems. Means you should have such a template that can give a good information to the software. What at that CV should contain labels and resume sections. For example, it should have professional experience well written. It should have education. It should have skills well written, separate portions in your CV, so that when a software see professional experience, it will go down and pick your information that you have some professional experience, you have written some job name or your designation name and your duration. So the software will pick the information from these sections. But if you don't have such sections in your CV, it will not pick up your information, and this will lead you for the rejection or not selection in the recruitment process. So for ATS CV, you should avoid headers in your CV or footers in your CV or any table or any graphics inside the CV or infographic like charts or other things inside the CV. So the fourth point is ATS friendly font. You should have an ATS friendly font. For example, it should not be too small, it should not be too large, but in between 10 to 12 points of font size is good for ATS friendly CV. And the font type is also matters. For example, it cannot pick some fancy fonts or some fonts that are not recognizable by the software. So you should have some simple fonts like Arial, Calibri, or Cambria, or Georgia, like that. So I have not accepted. Okay, thank you, Mohsen. I think now my video is visible. Yeah. Well, okay, sorry. Then we have the fifth tip is optimization of keywords. So when you apply for a job, what ATS software does, that it picks some information, it picks some keywords that actually employer wants. For example, employer wants a design engineer or electronic design engineer, but your CV mention you as an engineer. So the ATS system will not shortlist you for design electronic engineer. So you should read the description provided by employer and optimize your keywords in your CV, update your CV with the keywords of employer that is providing for the job description. And then we have some file formats that are friendly for ATS, means PDF. PDF is ATS friendly file. You can have PDF CV and you can submit to ATS softwares or in any hiring process. But image CV, for example, you have a photo of your CV that is not ATS friendly, and it cannot be detected information cannot be detected using image CV. So these are some acceptable formats, like PDF is most famous acceptable format in ATS CV. Yep. So when we discuss ATS CV, then you can ask why it is important to have ATS CV. You can have just normal traditional CV. It is important because nowadays a lot of companies like Fortune 500 companies or even smaller companies use ATS softwares. There is some study that the 35% of small businesses and 89% of large companies use ATS softwares because it is cheaper and they save their time, they save their money. means instead of a human cannot see CVs, hundreds of CVs a day, but a software can. So that's why companies buy these softwares, and these softwares save them money. And these softwares also sort the applicants and rank them that which applicant is more suitable for the job. So it makes the recruiters or employers' job more easy. That's why it is important for you to have an ATS-based CV whenever you are aiming high for applying multinational companies, or you are trying to apply like Google, IBM, Unilever, or P&G, or some other companies. You must have at least one version of ATS CV. So here are some samples that which is not ATS friendly CV and which is the ATS friendly CV. Actually, the ATS friendly CV on your right side of a screen, that is the ATS friendly CV. ATS friendly CV has distinct portions that separate education, separate experience, skills, and an ATS software can easily pick these portions and get information from these portions. Whereas on your left hand, it is not ATS friendly because it has some infographics. Means when you see at the skills, there are some infographics in bar format. So ATS software cannot understand that what this bar means. A human can understand that if you have a skill written that HTML or CSS, you have some skills and you have expert level in that skill, but ATS software cannot understand what do you mean by this bar. So you should have a plain CV, separate in sections and clearly written in a good, simple way. A good example of ATS CV is Eruopass CV. So you might have listened what is the Eruopass CV. So at the most places in Europe or even at the different part of the world, Euro CV is required. But in Europe, it is most famous because a lot of people are familiar with it, and a lot of institutions or employers or academic people use this format because it is easy to use. So you can update your Eruopass CV if you have once. You can update it anytime. So I would like to show you some tutorial on live. So maybe I'm going to the actual Eruopass website. I hope you can see the screen. Okay. So this is the tutorial that will tell you how you can actually make a Eruopass CV from having your Eruopass profile. First, you go to Eruopass website, build a profile, then you can print your CV.
In this quick tutorial, you will learn how to use your Eruopass profile to create different CVs. When you prepare an application for a course or job with Eruopass, you have two options. Create a Eruopass profile and share the link. Or create a Eruopass CV. You can use your Eruopass profile to create as many different CVs as you like, depending on what you need them for. Clicking on the round button on the top left corner of your Eruopass profile brings you to your personal Eruopass page. Here you can discover jobs, courses, and access all Eruopass functions. Click on the Create a CV button to create a new Eruopass CV. Select the first option to start from your profile. You can also upload a CV you created previously or start one from scratch. You can customize each CV. You can select which information from your profile you want to appear on the CV. If you want your CV to be shorter, or you think some information is not relevant for this course or job, you can just deselect it. If you wish, you can edit the information in your CV. But be aware that anything you change here is for the CV only and will not be updated in your Eruopass profile. Finally, you can select the style of your Eruopass CV. More design options will be added in the future. Now you need to store your CV. You can download it to your own device, and as a registered user, you can store it in your Eruopass library. If you want to allow employers all over Europe to find you, you can also publish the CV on Eruopass. Now you're ready to take the next step with your brand new Eruopass CV.
Okay, hope you saw the process of making Eruopass CV. This is how a Eruopass CV is made, and it is very famous in Europe that you must have a Eruopass CV if you are applying for a job or if you are applying for a scholarship, because it is easy to use and people here are very familiar with this format. Okay, so we are moving forward, and the other big question is that what is the difference between resume and CV? So the resume is very short and it's one-page CV, sorry, one-page description of your profile, and it is very focused on your experience and skills. And in resume, you only describe what is relevant to the job for that you are applying. But in CV can be 2 pages, 3 pages, or up to 5 pages, but it is better to have one-page CV also. It is ideal to have 1 page or 2 page, because one study tells us that an employer only spend 30 seconds watching at your CV. So it does not spend much on your CV. If your CV is good, he will see further it. Otherwise, he will just screen out and reject it. So the other thing that are included in CV are your educational and academic background. You should have a summary of these things. You should have summary of work experience in your CV. You should have publications, presentations, or you have any awards, honors, or any other detail you want to share. You can add in your CV. But in resume, it is very specific to the relevant job. Only highlight your skills and make it only 1 page. So that was the resume. And where it is working, for example, in Europe or Middle East, Arab countries, or Africa or Asia, employers expect that whenever they ask for the CV. And resume, whenever the people ask for resume in US, it means it is resume. Okay, but whenever they ask for CV, it means these people will be academic or education or scientific background. So even you are applying for scholarship or you are applying for any research position. So in United States, the CV is asked for that purpose. Resume is only asked for the employment purpose, and it is very specific, required that you should submit a resume or you should submit a CV. So that is the main difference between resume and CV. Okay, so then we are here discussing some types of CV. There are 2 types of CV. The third one is academic, that is not a separate type. So the main types are chronological CV and functional CV. Chronological CV means you add your information, experience, or education in an order of date, so that the most recent experience or most recent education you add in your CV. But in functional CV, what you are doing is highlighting your skills, highlighting your expertise. You do not highlight your education if you have poor grades, so you should not highlight this first. If you do not have a good experience, a work experience, you should not put it on the first half of your CV. So you can focus on your skills, you can focus on your any expertise that you have in your functional CV. It is not necessary for you to remember these types, but just understand that in one CV, you write in chronological order, that the most recent thing you have done, a job or a qualification, you put that. But in functional CV, you just highlight your expertise, your skills. So for academic CV is not the specific type of CV, but it is still a different format. So whenever you submit an academic CV, you should put your project information, your research expertise, if you have any publication or any poster you have designed ever, or if you have any teaching experience, if you have won some grants or awards or any positions during your studies, so you can add into your academic CV. Okay, so till now we have discussed the basic differences between ATS and non-ATS CVs, Eruopass CV making, types of CVs, and difference between CV and resume. So if till now, if you have any question, so you can ask, or we can move further. Is there any question in chat or no? Okay, well then. So first, we are now discussing that how to create a CV. There's no right or wrong way to set out any CV, but there are some standard sections that should have that a CV should have in it. There are the personal information, some personal profile or summary, we say, education or qualifications, and professional experience or employment history, and another portion of interest, that what interests you have, what skills you have, soft skills or hard skills. You should mention these skills. And if you have any certifications or professional trainings, you can add into your CV. And if you have any references, for example, any your teacher or your supervisor, anyone, if he is available for you, he can comment on your profile. You can add his name or her name. But if you don't have any available references, you can just write references will be provided on request. So whenever an employer or any academic teacher asks you, you can provide the name and contact number of your reference, that he is my referee, and he can comment on my profile. Okay, so then what makes a good CV? So what things you should add into your CV that can make your CV better? So the first thing is to be honest. Is it okay? Everything is okay?
So for the screen we can see is not the slide that you've shared already.
Oh, sorry.
Dear participants, what is the screen that you can see right now? Can you mention that, please?
What makes a good CV?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It's okay. Oh, what makes a good CV? So what thing you should add into your CV and what make it more better? So first of all, it's for you to be honest. Don't add any extra things that the skills or any experience or any qualification that you don't have. So whenever your lie is caught, you are rejected at any stage of your hiring process, or even if you get the offer, and if you are caught with a lie, you will be rejected. So it is better to be honest, add skills or expertise that you have and how much you have. If you are beginner, if you are intermediate, or if you are expert, you should add these skills honestly and highlight your. Then the other thing that make a CV good is highlight your qualifications, highlight your experience and skills. Avoid spelling mistakes and keep the sentence short. For example, if you are writing summary of your qualification or education or experience, just write 1 or 2 sentences for each line, each bullet point. So the sentences should not be long that just the whole CV is filled with sentences of your experience, but just keep sentence very short, only 1 or 2 sentences. And for experience, for working experience, if you have any job, you can add up to 6 bullet points for your job experience, but each bullet point should not be more than 2 lines. And you should be consistent that in terms of font size or font type. You should have single font type throughout the CV. You should not add multiple font types, and the size should not be too small, should not be too large, but recommended is 11 or 12 point font size in CV. And concentrate mostly on achievements, job expertise, job responsibilities in your CV, that what work actually you have done. And if you have any awards, if you have any honors, or if you have achieved any grant during your work or your education, you can add into your CV. And prepare your CV in your own words. Do not copy paste others' words from internet or from any others' CV. Do not copy paste the words. Try to write in your own words. Okay. And then the major other mistake most of the people do, that they don't have a professional email address. For example, the most of people use unprofessional email addresses like spiderman@gmail.com or any other, for example, Batman or XYZ. So you must have a professional email address that reflect your name or the part of your name, but you should have a professional email address. And avoid same CV using for all applications. Means if you are applying different job for different jobs, or you are applying for different scholarships, you should not use same CV again and again, but you should update the keywords, you should update the skills or the expertise that are required in a particular job or particular scholarship. So you should update your CV for each application accordingly. And the things that you should not include in your CV, these are, don't include anything that is negative. And if you have any poor grades or if you are failed in any subject, do not add that in your CV. And do not add any experience that is not good while you were working. And it is not necessary to add health matters or if you have any disability, unless it is not requested. So if some employer is requesting that provide health certificate or anything, otherwise you need not to mention in your CV your health matters. Don't mention your political affiliations or your physique, like weight, health, marital status, or how many children you have. It is not needed in your CV. And it is not necessary to mention what is your expected salary or what is your current salary. So don't add into your CV. And do not add abbreviations. For example, if your degree is called BSc, if your degree is called MBA, add them, but first write full name of your degree at the first, and then if you use second time, you can use the abbreviations. But it is because it is very confusing when you write any abbreviations. And the other thing you should avoid, that don't write CV or curriculum vitae on the top of your CV or on the bottom of your CV, or don't make a title. Everyone understand that this is your CV. Then we have tools to create CV. A lot of people use Microsoft Words, some use PowerPoint, and some online tools like you can prepare your CV from your LinkedIn profile. You can design your CV on Canva. You can design your CV on Adobe Express. These are the free resources I'm telling about. Or you can go to the website like flowcv.com. You can go to the website like app.cvmaker.com. So these are the resources where you can quickly make a CV online. But if you have a skill of PowerPoint or PDF, you can use that skill and make CV. For example, I like to work on PowerPoint. Okay, so if we talk about LinkedIn CV, when you make a LinkedIn profile, it is very essential, because even a front format of your CV, you write link of your LinkedIn profile, and most of the employer visit your LinkedIn profile because it is considered as live CV. So it is better to improve your LinkedIn profile, and somewhere if you need a quick CV, you can just print it in PDF format, and that would be a good CV and from a good LinkedIn profile. But it is better to first improve your LinkedIn profile. Okay, so as I mentioned, I use PowerPoint, and on the right side of the screen, it's my own CV I have designed on PowerPoint. So you can see that it is compressed, and I think it's not looking in a proper format because I have compressed it in small screen. So I work on PowerPoint and make my CV, or even I can make anyone's CV on PowerPoint. And if I ask you a question that what is the type of this CV that we mentioned, a chronological CV, and we mentioned a functional CV. So if anyone can answer me that what you think this is the type of CV, what type of this CV is. So you can type in the chat, or you can just answer.
Sir, I guess chronological.
Okay, so maybe we can have another answer. Then I will show you the answer.
Anis in the chat says it's functional.
It's functional. Okay. Okay, so the answer is functional. Because I do not have written anything in chronological order. I have highlighted my expertise, my skills, and I have highlighted my achievements first. You can see in the middle of my CV, these are the skills that I have, expertise, and these are the achievements that I have. So instead of my experience, I have kept my experience in the bottom because I do not have a good experience in professional area. So I was not a good engineer. I have not done any good work in any industry or any place. So I find it better to keep my skills first and my achievement first, because these are something good and I can win any position with these skills. Okay, so that's why this CV lie in the category of functional. Okay, so if I ask you other question, is it ATS friendly or it is not ATS friendly? Can you answer?
Yes, it is.
So Kamal and Mujahid in chat said no, they are not.
Okay, yeah, that's right. It is not ATS friendly CV because it contains a lot of infographics. It contains images, which ATS software does not understand. It will not pick the images or infographics when you submit the CV. This version I will never put in any job where ATS CV is required. I only send this CV where I am sure that the person will screen out my CV. I send, for example, in academics for a scholarship, I know the supervisor or the teacher will review my CV. I only send there. I do not use this CV for applying in IBM or Google or Unilever or P&G or any companies. I will not put this CV on these portals because they will not filter out. They will just screen out my CV and they will reject. I will be rejected in these companies because I know these companies use ATS softwares and my CV is not optimized with respect to ATS system. Okay. So here are some statistics that what are the popular areas when an employer or a recruiter watch your CV. So 99% people go to see your personal information, means it is very important. Everyone see your personal information you should have in your CV. And 98% people see your work experience, means this portion is very important. It should be in your CV. Education, 97% recruiters or employers want you to have education in your CV. And 90% employers want you to add skills in your CV. So these are some resources. And the rejection ratio, if we talk a rejection ratio, the 35% people or CVs are rejected due to unprofessional email. As I mentioned, people have spiderman@gmail.com or other emails. So 35% of such CVs are rejected on the basis of unprofessional email. And 54% CVs are rejected if they are not customized. Means if you have used same CV, it is not relevant to the job you are applying for, so it will be rejected. So the chance is 54% that your CV will be rejected if you have not optimized as it is required in job description. So whenever applying for any scholarship or any job, must go first for the job description or responsibilities that are required, study them and optimize your CV, then submit your CV. Okay, so CV making as professional skills. So if you want to make a CV, you can make it as your professional skill, just like in past. Once I personally did so, means I sold out this skill. I created other CVs, I improved or polished other CVs, and I did this work paid. So maybe I can, if I'm allowed, I can show you my Fiverr profile, that how I earned from this skill 2 years back. Currently, I'm not working like a freelancer, but once I used to work, I will I'll show you in a while. But I think I won't be able to. Sorry, I won't be able because I'm using Mohsin's laptop. Maybe if Mohsin can show you my Fiverr profile.
I'll have to stop your screen share.
Presentation. Well, I mean to say that.
I'll share your screen, Pratap. Okay.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, so basically I wanted to show you that actually if you make CV designing a professional skill or a PowerPoint a professional skill, you can earn from it. You can create CVs for others. There are a lot of people who don't have time or who has no skills. So you can do the work for them and earn from CV making or resume making and make it a professional like skill if you want, if you have time. So you can reach us at Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. And this is all from my side, and hope you learned something new for your CV designing. And I would like to thank you for listening. And if you have any question, you can ask, or you can just type in the chat, and I will hand over this laptop to Mohsin, I think. Well, if you have any questions, you can type in the chat or you can ask.
So before anyone asks anything else, one thing I would like to mention is that ATS was completely a new thing to me. I've never thought of it that way. So I do have a Eruopass CV, which I believe is ATS friendly, but I never thought of it that way. So I've never tried to put keywords in it. I always mention my basic degree is in biomedical engineering. And I just mentioned biomedical engineering, though sometimes I'm applying for medical engineer or sometimes I'm applying for biomedical researcher. So that's something I can really edit, right? Yeah.
So you have one thing you have benefit in the Eruopass CV. If you have any older version, or if you have made any you have made a CV on Eruopass, you can just upload your PDF on the Eruopass website and just update it very quickly. So I will suggest at least create your CV on Eruopass once, and you can update in no time. And other thing I would like to mention that it is not necessary that Europass should be ATS friendly. So Europass give you both versions. One is ATS friendly, one is ATS not ATS friendly. So it is better to choose ATS friendly. Mostly it is ATS friendly, but when you choose a format with infographic and graphs or charts or any images, that would not be ATS friendly. So just understand the basic definition of ATS, that if your CV contains infographics, your CV contains images, a lot of images, or the portions are not separated in a well manner, so the CV would not be detected with ATS softwares. But it is not necessary that everywhere it is not used. For example, in academics, if you are applying for a scholarship, it is not used. So it is better to have a good CV that represent your skills, expertise, and you can just highlight in a very well order.
Father Kamal is asking, can we add our picture in the CV?
Yeah, you can add your picture in your CV, but if you don't want to, it's up to you. But if you have a professional CV, you can if you have a good passport size photo, you can add that in your CV. But you cannot add any side pose or any fancy photo or any other photo in your CV. You should have a passport size professional photo for your CV, but that photo will not be detected by ATS. So even if in your CV you have a photo, so it is not detected by ATS. So in ATS CV, if you add or not, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so it looks like we don't have any other question. So if we don't have any other questions, that means most of the participants and like most of the interns did understood the art of CV making. So wouldn't it be a good idea to give them an assignment or something to make a Eruopass CV or maybe on PDF? What would you suggest?
Yeah, so if you like, you can go to the Eruopass website and make your CV. And if you like, you can just send to us or send to Mohsin. We can review your CV and we can suggest you that what things you should add into your CV or what things are not good for your CV. But again, I will say you need to optimize your CV every time when you're applying for scholarship or for job. So CV is not once.
This thing bothers me. So my CV is supposed to be my reflection, right? A CV is supposed to present me. So shouldn't it matter, like if even if I'm applying to, let's say, a big hospital, or if I was applying to a multinational corporate organization, shouldn't I have the same reflection because I am the same person? Although I'm applying at different places, but shouldn't my CV be same? Why should I change it?
Actually, when you're applying for a bigger hospital, means the competition will be high. And if you do not optimize according to their job requirements, you will not be shortlisted. I know I know that previous CV show that you are engineer, but if the keywords and job description are different, then the recruiter will just screen out and keep your CV aside.
Okay.
So it is better to optimize keywords that are required. For example, a lot of keywords like if you are a biomedical engineer, but required is biomedical expert, for example, or
something is research expert.
Yeah, research expert
or witness.
So it is better to optimize your keywords for the current job you're applying for.
That makes sense. Do we have any further questions? Anyone, please feel free to ask any questions if you have that. It looks like we do not have any other question. Okay, so there's one from Anis, that is Canva CV are okay.
Yeah, you can design your CV on Canva, but again, it depends. You have to differentiate on your own that it is ATS CV or it is just traditional CV. So it is not necessary for you to make ATS CV if you're not applying for bigger companies or giant companies like big names. So if you're applying for a local level or you're applying for academics, it is just you can make a good CV. a sample which can represent a good reflection of you. You can design on Canva, you can design on Adobe Express, or you can design on a PowerPoint. So it depends on you.
Yeah. That was great. Thank you for the session, Fatah.
Thank you
It
so
really
much.
meant a lot.
Yeah.
I personally learned a lot about I have never made a CV on Canva,
Yeah.
and I didn't know about ATS. So those are like two really new things to me. Thanks a lot for that.
Okay, so
You have one more question, please,
it
if
is,
you want to address it.
yeah, the question is, it is better to write internship, and yeah, you can, it is a good, means internship is good. You should mention in your CV that you have internship, or you have skills, what skills you have got from the internship. When you write internship, it's duration, that 1 month or 2 months, and what thing you learned from that internship, you can add that. Okay, so Anisa, mostly I use other templates. It's fine you are using other templates, because as I mentioned, everywhere ATS format is not required, but it is good to have ATS format. So you can just make traditional CVs, but add information in a well order, highlight your skills and expertise. That's all. So there's no right or wrong way for the CV. And it is not a legal document that you are making. It's up to you. It's your representation in text format or in a written format. So it's you in written format. That's all. Okay, so I think
That's all. Everybody's
that's
saying
all.
thank you, which means please end it.
Thank you for listening. Okay.
Okay, so
I will-
we would end the conversation right now.
I will stop.
Yeah, stop sharing.
Okay.
And then you can just simply leave.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening, and
So-
bye-bye.
Yeah, that's the end. Bye bye. Take care.
Leave.